I am ready to call the meeting, the Urban Forestry Committee meeting for July. We'd like to start with a roll call to the children. Jeanette Smith, Joe Scott, Carol Hannah. So we have a quorum. We have Julie here as our consultant. And we haven't had a meeting since April, so we need to remember what we did in April and take a look at the minutes and realize how much we accomplished. Good. Pages of stuff we got.
I'm sure there's somebody listening.
Yeah.
Never
I just
want
say,
everybody.
well, it'll help, if we have anything we need to listen back for meeting minutes or anything
Yeah.
too, that
Yeah.
helps, so.
Okay. If you want to scroll down through that. Wow. We worked on our goals and objectives. And here we are halfway through the year.
I see something that I'm not sure about.
Okay.
The word that Krista talked about, the SISMA. What is that? I mean, I know
Oh.
what it is. How do you spell it?
It is an acronym. CISMA.
Okay.
And it's County Invasive Species Management. Not sure what the A is. And I'll be talking more about that.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to make a motion to approve these minutes,
I will make a motion to approve the minutes.
second. I'll second it. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That takes care of that. I think we have agenda. And maybe can we introduce to our guests tonight?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Put them on the spot here. So I have here with us this evening Connor Grant. Connor Grant has been serving in several different capacities here for the town of Pendleton. His position has continued to evolve as we have realized a lot of talent and abilities, and we're very excited to have him on board. Good, shake your head. But Connor Grant started out here this past spring. Was it sometime in February? Oh, January. Okay, I knew it was at least by February.
January 6th.
January 6th, okay, so he started working with us in the capacity in community development. And then he quickly, because of some great writing capabilities and so forth, got pulled into our water territory project, working with Scott Resky, and then he worked with Carrie Craig on some developments with our special event handbook and, different pieces, just for the projects that Carrie was working with. Then as his time was starting to come to an end, I think what was originally maybe end of April, we extended it. Would you want to stay till the end of May?
It was the end of May.
Oh, I thought it was originally the end of April, and then we talked him into the end of May for the interns. And then,
Yeah, so I was supposed to intern from January to May. So beginning of January, end of May. And then, yeah, pretty much Denise and Carrie pretty much, okay, we want to keep you. They're like, offered me to stay for a couple months throughout the summer. And so I'm still here now.
You in
still
school?
here now.
No, I
He
graduated.
graduated
Okay.
May 3rd on his birthday
Okay.
from Ball State with his master's in public relations.
Congratulations.
Nice. Yeah.
He's got his bachelor's from Alabama in political science, right?
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. So, so we we're able to extend his stay, here for the summer to kind of help us out with a lot of our, projects and, communications and so forth. And, we're getting ready to officially hire him effective July the 28th in a full-time capacity
Good.
as our planning and zoning administrator.
All
So,
right.
Yes, yeah, so.
So yes, I'll be at every meeting.
So he's, very interested and open to learning, and, he's already, been a great help to us in our planning department and a lot of our
Welcome.
development, so.
Thank you.
Where did you grow up, Connor?
I went to Franklin Central High School,
Okay,
so south side of the state.
sure.
But I've been living here since I graduated
Okay.
in 2023. So I've been living here for a few years
And
now.
so yes, Cedar Pendleton.
Well, in another 20 or 30 years, we'll consider you a real Pendleton person.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll get you.
you know that new guy.
Yeah, I've already told him that my goal was is that he would be hired in a different capacity by the end of July, and here we are. So
Okay.
it's worked out great.
Great,
So
good.
we're growing, and, he's a great addition, so. All right, well, we'll go ahead and, get started here on our old business, but also I did, want to announce here, that, Connor has, graciously accepted helping us out in our projects here for urban forestry.
Okay.
So we've got our Facebook page. We talked about, we haven't, got him on there yet, but helping us out that way we can be more consistent, more present, having a steady flow of posts there. A lot of the posts I've shared with him are just more kind of just the highlights that we've had from different events, but we would like to start building it as an educational tool more for our community and resource. So, so he's, great at research and whatnot, so we'll start kind of pulling him into that. And then the other piece that our planning department is of great need and help with is our tree inventory and keeping that updated. So when we have, especially when our street department is having to remove trees, trimming and whatnot, we'll be able to keep that more current. Because I've got a list of, unfortunately, this year, about 12 trees I need to get removed from the database and get those updated. And then that way, and then we can start assessing where those voids are, and then we can start putting those into our tree planting projects and plans. So. Okay, all right, the first old business, we've got, I think, 5 items on the old business. The first one is our Tree Campus K through 12 program. We have a little bit of news. If you recall, here late last spring, we met with Carol and I met with the middle school, and we met with Melanie McCarty and her team there. They are completely on board with participating starting in this school year, 2025 through 2026. I actually just ran into her at Farmers Market this past Saturday, and she said, my mind is just going crazy with all these ideas. So she is very excited to build that program. I talked to her about the Encore tree project that we were going to host with the South Madison Community Foundation with that tree recovery project. We've got the 5-year anniversary coming up this October. So our goal was, and the initial thoughts are having 35 trees planted. That would be 5 trees for each campus. So the campuses would be the 3 elementary schools here in town, the middle school here in town, as well as the high school. And then the other 2 campuses are for LaPel School System. They are within the South Madison school territory, and they work very closely with our foundation here in town. So it's very important that we include and we work with them. And our ultimate goal is not only to expand our tree canopy and to educate young, about the importance of trees, but we want to promote our Tree Campus program. And that being said, I'm very, very excited to say, and this is official, unofficial, we had submitted the application for the Pendleton Elementary here for the intermediate for those efforts that they have committed to, and this year adding that third event. So the fall being the Arbor Day celebration proclamation, that tree planting exercise we do with the fourth grade students. And then we had here the last 2 years, we've had that repeat on the poster contest through Indiana DNR. But then this last spring, we'll share some pictures and talk about that a little bit too. But our STEM Day at the park on the 16th of May, they want to repeat this every year annually. So they're very excited
Yeah.
to have that as a tradition for them again. And with those three events and our educational plan that we submitted to Arbor Day, their application has been approved.
Nice.
So they are going to then receive that recognition. All the materials and packet is going to be sent out in September. So September, then we will make the official announcement along with them and get a press release. And so that will be great timing to then be a segue into our tree planting project that we want to involve all the schools. And hopefully then that way they can utilize that event to qualify them as well for next year's application. Arbor Day Foundation has made it very clear that they really want this program to build, and having some starting blocks, those type of programs showing that we're going to start maybe on a small scale, but continue to build on will get you in on that recognition. So it was very streamlined process, very doable. And yeah, I'm hoping that by next year we'll have 7 here in this area. So that would be huge. So, but yeah, there's kind of the schedule there. But we will keep to the same schedule this next year with our intermediate elementary school. There may be another addition for some of the younger students. But for the middle school, we'll be looking at probably a fall activity with the encore event. Tree planting event, then followed up with, they are wanting to do a leaf collection activity. She's already ready. We can help out, but she's very comfortable taking lead on that. She wants to have that in her school system for every 7th grader to come through and to participate in that. And then we'll probably do an Arbor Day celebration of some sort in the spring with them.
Yeah.
So
Good.
if it's not a tree planting, it might be some tree inventory, but we'll
Yeah.
come up with something
Yeah.
for next year.
Good.
Any questions on that? Okay.
Seems like that happened quickly. It seemed like it hasn't been that long. We just started talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited.
Well, I'm glad that they aren't making it too cumbersome to,
Yeah.
they want to make it something that you want to do, and that
Yeah.
you're not just bogged down in paperwork or whatever,
Yeah,
Yeah. Good.
absolutely. Yeah. Hey, then the next one, just wanted to share with you some pictures from our poster contest. The first one was our ceremony that we held on the 22nd of April. That just happened to fall after our April Urban Forestry Committee meeting. And that is the top 15 students there up in the top picture. And then the bottom 2 pictures are at our May Town Council meeting. The first one was with our school-wide winner, which is Memphis Hofer. And she had placed not only the first place at the school contest, but then she was in the top 8 for the state. And so that is there, her pictured in there, that middle picture, then as well as we have Kim Collier that we got added in there in that bottom picture. And Kim Collier is the lead for Pendleton Intermediate School for the 5th grade classes. And she's just been very instrumental in making this happen with their recognition this year, as well as making sure that these programs take place. We have a lot of fun that evening celebrating her. And then you'll see here on the next slide, just wanted to show you pictures of Memphis. Memphis's family, they took her to Crown Hill Cemetery there in Indianapolis. And they had all top 8 posters on display. So that's her picture right there next to her poster. And they said it was just, that's one thing that I would like to attend next year and be able to see that and be a part of it. They gave little trees, samplings as well out to those who attended. They really enjoyed, I think it was over a course of, I think 2 weeks maybe, that they had that on display. Any questions on that?
No.
Bit? All right, so STEM Day at the park, that was on the 16th of May. And we had 123 students, I believe, 5 classes. Last year, their 5th grade classes only had 4, so they are growing. So they actually had a 5th class this year. Kim Collier had indicated it was 10 years ago when they held this event before at the park.
Wow. Oh,
Yes,
really?
And yes, and so she had talked to Melissa Hagerman, the principal, and she was all in support of them coming back to the park, and it just all worked out perfectly with the timing, especially with the park master plan. They put a station, they had iPads out there that they asked questions that were relative to, children and what their interests were, what they enjoyed about the park, what they felt was needed at the park. And then while they were waiting and taking turns with those iPads, then they had coloring pages. And I believe those were posted at the park office. Is that correct, Julie?
They were.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, they had several pictures there on display. And then the second station was one of our park board members, Andrew Holloway. He works for the Muncie Sanitary District. He came in and he talked about electrofishing and had all types of facts about keeping the.
So I'm only an hour late.
And this is Greg. Loretta, if you want to sit up there next to Julie.
Really?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I had this marked down for a different time.
Oh, you are completely fine.
I almost missed it too. So.
Well, it's been a while. We've had a lot of activities since April, but we've not had an official meeting since we've had these activities, so. That was good. So yeah, Andrew was there. He was a popular favorite station. It was, I wish I could have sat in there. He is so knowledgeable, and he had his crew, his members there, with him that day. They talked about, what type of fish stock that we have in our creek, why it's important to keep the water clean for those fish to be able to live healthy, and the quality of the water controls the type of fish that live in the water. And so he was talking about how it's so important to do our part to, hold ourselves accountable to not throw trash in there and this and that. And he collected, I don't know, Carol, do you remember? There's probably
20 some
20
fish.
some there fish in these aquariums there. And
That's just
all
amazing.
kinds.
I didn't realize how many different varieties of little.
Yeah.
We have.
Yeah.
So I got to see him actually do that last summer.
Last summer.
And
Yeah.
then it was 16 different ones. So he came up with 4 more.
Yeah.
I wondered, you talk about keeping the water clean and all that. I wonder if there's an impact on this invasive plants. If the impact, we talked the other night at Friends Falls Park about, the impact it would have because if certain foods are available to certain birds, we start losing certain
Right.
species of bird.
Right.
I wonder if that's also affects what kind of fish we have. I didn't know I would, but
I'll do some research.
Good thought, yeah. Maybe we can see if Andrew would want to come here and maybe speak about some
Oh,
things.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. And it's really, talking full circle with just the environment as well, but full circle with just life. I thought it was so awesome that we had a young man who came and was in their studies at Ball State, I think, in environmental science of some sort. And I think Julie, was it you that Gabe was going to connect him with Andrew as well with some potential employment, or it might have been Krista Bosman.
It was
Maybe,
Chris.
probably Krista.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah. It's neat how those conversations start and how those relationships develop and put people in the right place at the right time, so.
But just giving these kids ideas too, that maybe this is something I want to do when I grow up.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That is
And
for sure.
that, the water quality
Mhm.
that Andrew works for, that's all because of a very persistent professor from Ball State in the 70s, kept hounding the mayor. and the mayor finally gave in. So
Yeah,
that's been in effect, sits outside the water department.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and from what I understand, very rare to have that position funded, within an area as, small and, it's Indiana, I think it's, one of three, did he say nationwide?
Sure.
maybe, That had his position, with the sanitary district, so. Pretty amazing. Also, we had the water flow testing of Fall Creek. They, talked about, kind of the validity and the flow of the creek there. That was, an individual that the school had a prior relationship with and connected, with that individual. And then we also had the museum. They held, their tours that day, and they said that it was, they loved it. And they used to do a lot more tours, years past, and that's what they're really wanting to get back to. And they were just very ecstatic to be able to have the students come through that day. So I anticipate that they'll want to be involved again next year. And then we had our station, and I would say, Carol, it took maybe 1, 2 of the 5 sessions to kind of get a good flow.
Yeah.
But it's like that time goes so quick, and in your Teams folder, there is a presentation of our session. But for the most part, our highlights that we wanted to stress was, I did not go to the right presentation. Was we talked about, what the purpose of our urban forestry committee served. We looked at tree keeper on the TV screen, so they were able to see, kind of where those trees are and how that data gets collected and pulled into that system. We shared with them our totals there, how many trees that we have in our inventory and what benefit then that we calculate. I don't know if you recall, maybe a couple years ago, Jeanette, and you might remember this with that tree keeper. There was other areas that they would say oxygen, and there was also maybe land assessed value that they put into calculation for value of trees for the ecosystem, benefits. They, in later time, they had to remove all the other areas. These are the only 3 areas that they felt that they could quantify, more affirmatively, on that. So, but those still are in place in our system, but it shows kind of what the value of our 2,600 trees are. But then what we did is we looked into what data is collected in our tree keeper program. And then we went through an exercise. So we just kind of took the booklet for the tree identification, and we just simplified it. So we just looked at 5 characteristics of a tree. I looked at their leaf structure, their leaf arrangement, bark characteristics, whether it bears fruit or not, and then same thing with flowering trees. And so then when we I think we had 4 different trees, and they worked as a group to then kind of work through a process that kind of narrowed it down to, ask questions, what was the shape of the tree or the leaf, I'm sorry, getting familiar with the leaf structure, the texture, they feel it, whatnot. And then the leaf classification, then we showed whether if it's a single stem or a multi-stem leaf, and then they would assign it a number. And so then what they did was each classification came out with a calculation number. Try to keep it simple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as it went along. Same thing with the arrangement of the leaf, the bark. And this one here, if I would have done it over again, I wouldn't have put this visual of the bark over here, because then they started trying to associate with the images over there. So that was a lesson learned for me. But just maybe simply giving them light gray and smooth or dark gray and smooth. And then we had a little tally down here. If their totals, equaled 30, then it was the Eastern red bud. If it was, 32, it was a flowering cherry. So some of them were really close. If you got one off, it just
Yeah.
totally skewed it. So that's one thing too, that maybe as I go back into it, I can change those numbers a bit to where they're not too close, to come out, the same. But
I think they enjoyed that.
yeah,
They had a lot of fun with it. They had their own little tree on their table.
I bet that was
Yeah, tried
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Yeah, it was neat to be able to see them, come up with theirs and they'd raise their hand as a team and, we got it, And, yeah, it was neat. And then after that, we had them assess the condition of their tree. And so they got to, measure it, then they rated it, whether it's good, fair, poor, dead. And then they, took into then consideration as far as what are some things that you feel like your tree needs? A lot of it was soil because the buckets were pretty dry. Some of them, indicated, need to be stabilized and, and we were really impressed with their observation skills, for sure. So, and then of course, then we were like, okay, but there's one thing that this tree needs the most and, they're in buckets, so it's like they need a home and, they need to be planted, so. Carol, do you have anything, from that day?
They very much liked the hands-on stuff. They didn't so much like just listening to facts.
Yeah, back.
It was like, let's do something.
Yeah.
Well, did they get to take the trees home?
Hmm?
Did they get to take the trees home?
No, we only had 4 trees,
Oh,
and
okay.
so the park took a couple, and then I had bought a couple just because it was too costly to get a tree
Yeah.
from,
They were-
Bluegrass Farms,
they were
'cause
just-
they were
yeah,
the
they were-
big ones.
Yeah.
These are these.
You
just little
can see the
big
picture,
trees.
they were small enough to be on the table. So they were- But they were different enough that they could see, some of the variation.
Yeah, we had a, arborvitae, a little small one.
That I planted in my yard.
Okay, yeah,
And it's still growing.
Yeah, and I bought them at Walmart. And
Yeah.
I think I bought one of them somewhere else, but yeah, I mean, they were very, inexpensive and, yeah. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. Okay. All right, go back here. Then the next is that we had farmer's market. Get the pictures here. That was just this last Saturday. And see a picture of Coco there. She was like all ears and we had a blast. It was hot. It was warm.
Very hot.
But it worked out really well. We had the park master plan update there, had the interactive board there that you could mark here and make note of an area in the park that you felt like needed something or was your favorite part or whatever comment you wanted to make. And then Julie and Krista was there for the initiative for our tree invasive program that they're starting here at the park. And how many did you get for volunteers that you
There-
really?
Krista is keeping the ongoing list, but I think we had 10.
Yes, yeah,
Just,
a lot of individuals very
And-
interested in helping.
and, I thought overall crowd size was down last Saturday.
I did too.
Mhm.
I think it was the
wondered
heat.
that. Yes,
I think it
that
was the heat.
Yes,
The heat
Mhm.
and, people are waiting for the produce.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And usually we would see maybe 10 o'clock, we'd see all the soccer players. And I
But
thought,
there's no
well,
soccer.
there's not
Soccer
this
going
late in
on,
summer.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, yes.
But we did have the 5K people.
That's
Some,
true,
but
yeah.
it didn't seem like very many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was hot.
Yeah.
They were ready.
They were ready to go, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
And this
bet our
week's the
August-
car show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's
yes, right.
we
So
did.
that, yeah.
That's-
When K-Burger,
Oh, yes.
we've got August 9th, so.
K-Burgers.
That's our next one, yeah.
I didn't like hamburgers, but I love theirs, yeah. But they have the occasion. No?
But still, there were people interested in,
Okay.
in their trees and wanting more information about. I mean, the people that were there were interested and,
Yeah.
and, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You could tell when they walked up and stared at everything and looked,
Mhm.
you could tell they were
And-
interested,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That it was something they wanted to
They wanted, yeah.
know a little more about.
And then we also talked about, because we had individuals ask about the tree sale. So we'll plan on having some pamphlets from the Madison County Soil and Water there the next time. And
I
that'll
think
give
it's a
them-
good idea about maybe trying to have, like, if people are gonna order a tree, instead of having to drive up to the
Mhm.
north part, is to have a distribution
Mhm.
location here.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, or,
It is.
Where do you think it'd be a good place to have it? Up towards the front
or in the
of the
circle.
park or the
In
circle?
the circle.
I like the circle,
Office.
easy in and out.
If there's nothing there, sometimes.
Cause when we did that distribution of those 200 trees in the circle, that
Yeah.
worked pretty well.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of trees
Yeah,
that kind of,
Yeah, and that would not be any problem at all, because I know Brett, and Jim Cook. I mean, they, they've had, gone up to the Madison County Soil and Water several times for
Mhm.
different stormwater,
yeah.
projects and so forth, and they could easily take out both their trucks, pick them up and,
And
Bring
then
it
we
back,
could just,
yeah.
yeah,
that's a good idea.
yeah.
They would enjoy that.
And that might make it more, maybe more people would be willing to buy a tree then if they knew that they,
Yeah,
cause it's
Yeah,
clear north Anderson. Oh my gosh.
yeah. Yeah, I can't go that far.
Well, a lot of people have no idea where it's at.
Where it is, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a real good point. To have it down here and,
Yeah.
yeah.
If we can make that happen, I think that would be,
What, does anybody know when that is?
it's usually sometime in September.
maybe
Yes.
mid-September.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, cause we buy trees every year
Uh-huh.
and we'll
And
have
I
to
think
order
the
them
order form, it needs to be in
in
by,
like end of July or something.
I
or-
think it's
or
all-
August.
It's in August, I think.
And then
yes.
towards the end of
it's coming
September, I
up
think.
clearly. but
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, so I think,
I
I think in our next, on our August 9th, then we probably could have some brochures
Yes,
for
Yeah.
people to order
Yes.
then.
Krista should be able to
Yeah,
accommodate us. with
Well,
that.
and that might be a good thing to get out on our Facebook page
yeah. Yeah,
ahead of time.
Okay, yeah, that's great, and I'll get a hold of Randy and Krista there, and see if we can get some of those and then, have them ready, and then we'll, before that, farmer's market booth in August, then we'll identify our pickup date.
yeah,
So that
yeah,
way we can share that
Share
in
that.
location.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then I will, since we have a new park director that's starting the same day as Karen Connor here.
Oh,
full-time,
yes.
I'll get with, Sherry and we can see what works well, for the park and Julie, and we'll get that coordinated then. Okay.
Good.
Okay, we'll see what the schedule and,
Probably ought to check. I don't wanna be a downer, but sometimes there at the community building, they rent that and then they
Yeah.
kinda take over that. Sometimes that whole area there in the circle. You know, and I'm not saying it's gonna happen on that day, but a couple of times
Or
when
we
the-
can plan it around the rental.
Right,
schedule.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely. Just
And
make
through the
sure
week.
that everything's,
If it's through the week, it's
Yeah.
a lot better
Yeah.
than a weekend event.
yeah. Um, okay, so that is all, on the old business except for our invasive tree initiative. So,
And Jeanette, or no, Joe, excuse me, I stand corrected. SISMA, that is an acronym for cooperative, I said county,
Okay.
Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area. In Indiana, that area is broken down by county. And again, Madison County was one of a handful of counties that had never had a SISMA. And Krista's new role with Madison County Soil and Water, one of her responsibilities is to create the SISMA. Since our last meeting, we have met
actually with Dawn Slack, who is at the state level. And that's a SISMA at the state level. She, I spent a total of between 3 and 4 hours with her in the 2 days. It was 2 days because she showed up a month early. And so, so I got double.
Two for one.
Yeah, I got double Dawn time, which was great. So she has walked our trails and our paths. The second time was with Madison, Brandy and Krista with Soil and Water. We are awaiting her land survey report, and she warned us that it will be a while because she is a very, very consumed person. She covers the whole state. I also attended a day-long training in Rushville in May that Dawn presented. So I spent 6 more hours with her that day. So the SISMA, Dawn met with Madison County Soil and Water a couple weeks ago to lay out their plan to create a SISMA. And it's not like you can just say, oh, we want to do it, and the next day it's going to take them probably until spring of next year to be official SISMA. But that doesn't mean there aren't things going on along the way. They are doing a call out meeting for information and sign up of volunteers. The first meeting is Tuesday, September 2nd, and that is at the community building in the park. Oh, most importantly, that week, that day that they spent with her, they definitely determined that Falls Park will be their inaugural pet project. Yes. The second meeting will be Saturday, September 6th at Mounds. It is. Well,
So we'll all go to the second.
it was going to be, they were wanting it the 4th, which is also Park Fest night.
Mhm.
I can't be there.
But both meetings are gonna be the same thing.
They are gonna be the same
So-
thing. They just wanted 2 locations in Madison County. So it's a call out for interested folks. Out batting in this.
So where's it gonna be?
At Mounds Park,
Oh, at Mounds,
in our park,
In our
it's at
park.
the community.
at the
building.
community building.
September 2nd at 6 o'clock. And I've been asked to be on the first SISMA board and accepted. I was the honor to. Sherry was also asked to be on that board. Now with the change, because that would represent Falls Park and Mounds Park. We'll see what happens here, since the event was Sherry moving back to Falls Park. If she, I haven't asked the question yet whether, and Sherry's concerned about that too, whether we both will be able to be on the board. And if not, if there is a concern with that, I'm going to defer and let Sherry decide. If she wants it, I will step back for her. But hopefully we can both still be on. We'll see.
So the 6th is at Mounds Park.
It is,
How many members are usually on them?
and I believe that's 10. That's a good question. And that's
Just wondered, that might help your.
Yeah,
cause.
the thing, yeah,
Yeah.
also get her.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if both. of you were
Regardless,
on it.
we're gonna have a representative on that now. October 11th.
My birthday.
This is. That is a national, every annual weed wranglers event day. So. We will plan, even though the SISMA's not in, we are planning to probably have our first invasive eradication day, October 11th. Much more to come on that, but I just wanted to save the date.
Yeah.
And thinking about any Arbor Day or any other tree planting or anything, that second Saturday in October will be invasive. Um, a couple things that I have learned since we last talked. Once you cut honeysuckle, you have to treat it with David, with the chemical, within 15 minutes or it heals itself. Yeah.
Where do you get the kid?
For honeysuckle, it can just be Glyph, these chemicals that I've stayed away from for 30 years, basically around it. Glyphosate, yeah. Tree of Heaven's different. It's a stronger chemical. I gotta get that pronunciation.
T.
It does start with a T, and I gotta get the pronunciation right so I can repeat it to people. You're supposed to be certified to utilize that chemical.
But for the honeysuckle just ground up.
Yes, and they have these wonderful, they're called daubers. Think of, if you're doing a mass mailing and to seal the envelopes, yeah, it's a chemical dauber, much like that. It's, once you cut, you just daub it on, and go on.
Because you don't wanna have so much that there's runoff from it.
Right,
You wanna
right.
limit, yeah,
You wanna be effective, but not overkill.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
You want to overdog.
Also in conflict, and let me mention, there is an annual invasive conference, a 2-day conference every year. Last year, it was in June and it was in Bloomington. And I've been waiting and waiting to see where this year's was, and I kind of lost track, but it is in Hammond this year, and it is September 4th and 5th. So that prevents me from being in attendance this year because it's Park Fest and Heritage Fair. Yeah. But next year. And there's other, there's trainings, lots of different trainings available through the state, through the year. You can see all of those opportunities on the SISMA, Indiana SISMA website. Actually, I'm sorry, the Indiana SISM, SISM.
That's what I was confused about. I saw
At the
something.
state level,
It's an S.
S, at the county level, it's a CISM. Yes. Okay, Tree of Heaven. My mercy. It is, I'm gonna call it in bloom right now. It sets off bunches, think of a maple tree in the helicopters. A Tree of Heaven does the same thing, and these things are light enough that they can travel great distances. A mature Tree of Heaven is either a male or female, and it's the females that set off the seeds. And if a mature female Tree of Heaven can produce 300,000 of these seeds. I'm seeing more and more how prominent it is in our park.
Well, now that you know, once you know what it is, you see it everywhere.
You
It is at the edge of town,
Yeah,
as you go out just past
Yeah,
it, at the
I
edge
saw
of
that today.
the
Yeah.
trailer park.
Yep, I saw that today.
Yes.
And it was in bloom.
The culprit for us, my concern is that it is so prominent on the incline of our train tracks, up the train tracks. So there are no coincidences. Yesterday morning, I said to Joe Knoll, I wonder where the park property ends, the responsibility, and the train track begins. what I learned, let me back up just a moment. What I learned from Dawn Slack. It's like, milkweed is to the monarch, its host for larvae. Tree of heaven is to the spotted lanternfly. And that is a very severe invasive that has been spotted in Indiana. If you see it in Indiana, you are supposed to report it to the DNR. It's an invasive insect that attacks over 100 types of plants. It is rapidly spreading primarily by hitchhiking and has been found in Indiana. It kills grapes, weakens many types of trees and bushes, and is a nuisance to homeowners and businesses. It weakens plants by feeding on the sap. It excretes a sugary substance called honeydew, which attracts stinging insects, promotes the growth of sooty mold, and causes a messy nuisance for residents. Guess what the host plant is for the spotted lanternfly? Tree of heaven. Guess how they think that it's being spread? Yes. We have a ticking time bomb in our park. So, as I said, there are no coincidences. Yesterday, and I was here later than usual, and I was at the sports complex. Coming back, I see this gentleman in a vest and a helmet looking at the bridge, and it says CSX. And long story short, he was doing bridge inspections. That's all he did. But he gave me the name of the lady that I need to contact, who is the director of real estate for CSX. And he pulled up a map for me on his PC. He said, now, this is an estimate, but by his estimate, boundaries, the majority of those that are on that incline would be within the railroads. Now, what I want to do is identify, are they gonna let us tell us eradicate them?
I
And
don't know
again,
why they wouldn't.
I know, you can't just cut down tree of heaven. You have to treat the trunk before, so it goes down and treats the roots. And if anybody wants a good example of what happens when you just cut, now, we had one just off the park office parking lot. It did get treated, but I don't think it got allowed enough time to penetrate enough. So it was cut down late winter, very early spring, it got cut down. I can stand there and count about 20 3-foot tree of heavens. And the root system of a tree of heaven, even if you don't cut it down, it can send up shoots and suckers up to a 50-foot radius.
I had to get rid of 4 in my front yard because my neighbor to the west
Cut
cut
it
down
down.
a tree of heaven. But I knew what it was, so it was a little thing like this, so I got stuff on it, come to pay with.
So you spray something on it or whatever.
I think we need to educate those in the town that might be dealing with cutting down tree of heaven.
No, that doesn't work.
Because that just complicates the issue.
Special, something.
So the good news is I've got a contact now
Yeah.
to talk with CSX and to define.
It's gonna be interesting to see
It will.
what you,
And I'm going to
Find
wait
out,
and have the
yeah.
conversation with Sherry, because Sherry has so much more experience in invasives than I. And I'm gonna let her decide, does she want to be the one to contact them, or does she want me to? Instead of me
That's
just
gonna
going
be,
forward.
that's gonna be interesting.
It is.
Yes,
it
it
is.
is. Yeah.
But in the meantime.
But we can do all the eradication we want to, but it's not gonna help unless we do something on that train trestle area. And behind the office, It's all,
Yeah.
they're all over behind the office and on both sides. On both sides of the bridge, along the area just past the bridge where you walk back by the conservation building and the pool. That whole ridge.
So would you like to see us take on eradicating out of the railroad's property? Because I think you'd play heck ever getting them to do anything.
Oh,
If
I
we could do
agree,
it.
I
I mean,
agree.
and they would take such time, so it seems to me we're caught between rock and hard.
We don't do it, it's not
We're
gonna
going
get
to
done.
have to do it, or nobody's going to do it.
Yeah,
I wonder if DNR has any programs that, you know, would provide some help from some groups they have. You know how they had their arborist groups? They came at the tree planting time, all over.
Well, I think that's why the SISMA and the, but maybe they have. The Pickham and the SISMA.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the railroad
Yeah,
program,
maybe they-
because they've already
Yeah.
informed us and trained us that that's
Yeah.
how that is coming through railroad. I just wonder if they have any input in that, or
Any-
just in the railroad.
Right, right.
Not
So more to come,
Yes,
we're
ma'am.
just,
Yes.
because I'm sure other SISMAs have.
Yes, have the
this
same.
rail-
Yeah.
it's going through.
But I think you have to really get this out to people in town, because my son just cut some down last Saturday, not knowing what to say.
Yeah.
They're on our Main Street property.
Yeah,
So
I had,
People don't know.
no, they don't, and again,
I mean, and that tree of Evans is gone forever, because
Right.
I played in it when I was a kid. We all did.
So maybe we ought to, maybe one of our jobs would be to, inform the public in some
Yeah.
simple way,
Yeah.
you know, and then we need to make sure that they know the proper way to get rid of them.
And why it should be gotten rid of.
Right.
Because if it's been around forever, a lot of people will think, oh, well,
Mhm.
it's sit there, you know.
or they think it's a pretty tree. and
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you know it since you were
And
a
I can
kid.
hear a lot of people going. I can
Yeah.
just see it, but, so we probably would never get rid of it entirely, but. If, you know,
They can't stop trying.
I know, if you do
mean,
it the
somebody-
right way,
Somebody brought up the thing about pear trees somewhere, somebody started that, and now most people know.
Yeah,
different- different
it just
pear
takes
trees.
consistent,
so
Year after year.
yeah.
would you say that the best way to get rid of it would be what?
I can squirt. Get that axe into the trunk and squirt the chemical in so that it goes down into the, and
But it has to be
Do you
that
have to treat the
specific.
trunk?
it does, it has to be a specific chemical. I've got that list here to show you.
Well, I'm ready to tell everybody no, and I know there's some out around Jennifer Neal's farm.
Basil bark is another, here. Take those.
This is, I mean, probably 3/4 of the people know it,
Yeah.
don't know a thing about it.
Right.
I don't know a thing about it, you know, it's.
I think it's one of the few trees I don't have.
Let's say, yeah,
Except for the main tree.
Yeah. But just wait and watch. I
Well,
mean,
And
you
I picked these up at the day-long invasive training, which that training was free. Um, But I didn't think about making copies, so I've got 3 sets of these. Denise, I'll
As I say, if we can have one set,
Yes.
that's something we can put on
And then-
our urban forestry
So-
page too.
yeah,
Thank you.
how about you need these for the urban forestry?
I've got more of those
Yeah,
at home.
okay,
I just
okay.
don't have, I just grabbed those on my way out. I have plenty more of those that I
Hack
can.
and squirt, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
So-
have to make sure and have it right.
So Julie, when you're doing that, you're saying axe and squirt, then would you eventually remove the trunk that's in the ground or do you,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Cause that's what I'm thinking too with this, railroad embankment. We're going through a huge process with CSX right now. We've got our it's a settlement monitoring plan that we have to have, that we're installing a stormwater, a 36-inch, well, we got a 24-inch carrying pipe, but a 36-inch casing pipe that is gonna go from, the property there, south of Anvex, that will go through the railroad, embankment, then it'll actually be bored under, State Road 67 there, then to the east side. And so we had some conflict with some water lines, and so we had to do some dewatering processes and so forth. Well, it got put to a halt because any impact in that area, in that soil, I mean, that soil is what creates that stability for the railroad.
Right.
And so any movement or adjustments and modifications to that, it has to be engineered stamped, or so we had to put, it's probably been on hold now for about 60 days. And so then getting CSX to them back there, because they have to come in and they have to have scheduled flagmen when there's work and so forth. So we were taken off their schedule until we got all that buttoned up. And hopefully we got some news this week that they're hopeful that they'll be able to get that resubmitted here and get it back on the schedule.
So a perfect time to attack,
Yes, it's a
perfect time.
so, yeah.
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 Now,
All right,
and
that's
and
all
I
I'll call
would
that.
foresee, there's a lot of small ones. And being able just to treat it, and I'm talking about on the incline, being able just to treat it, kill the tree. Well, we don't necessarily have to go. We don't have to take it down. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they don't, when they cut stuff down,
Yeah.
they just leave it there.
Well, it's kind of even with DNR, when you've got
Yeah.
trees there along the embankment and so forth. Even with the Lowhead Dam, I think they want you to keep that portion that is right in that embankment to be able to keep that stable.
Yeah.
So. All right, wow, very interesting.
And I've got just one of these that shows a picture of the spotted lanternfly. I'll pass this around just so we all have the visual of it. There's.
That was
on
in
the
our
front.
training,
Right.
I went to the tree steward training.
Yeah.
We had a presenter that talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about Krista, and I'm sorry I missed that Monday night, but honeysuckle. Honeysuckle is like candy for birds. They are attracted to it, but it does not provide the nutritional value they need. So they migrate much like hop or anything. They migrate to that, but they're not getting the nutritional benefits required out. I love you shaking your head. You know something.
A little bit, not a lot, but
Yeah.
So,
I always liked the honeysuckle, and I never knew that it was invasive until
Just remind me else that I didn't know.
the certain kinds, okay.
On the honeysuckle.
Not Asian.
It is. Oh, not
It's
just,
not all of this.
Oh, not all,
No.
okay,
but the Asian is what's prominent.
okay.
And it might-
Now, also I'll mention to you guys, what I foresee is that our events, and they will just be 2-hour events, that's very, the state, the counties are very strict on only do 2-hour events, and they get good. Good
Yeah, if it's all day.
participation with that.
Yeah.
Um. No, I'm also- And not everybody that's gonna volunteer has to know everything about it.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
leader there's a leader, and the first 15 to 20 minutes of that event is education and safety discussion, for every event. We will just
Stop your tongue.
We will basically just work on the perimeter. We'll just work on the perimeter of the park trails. Ultimately, and Dawn stated this. Ultimately, her biggest recommendation is that you hire a firm to go inside and do the middle of it. And I'm anxious to talk with Sherry because Mounds is doing that with a company called Echo Lab.
I asked Dawn if she could recommend companies, and she said, no, I can't. But if you tell me a name, I can either nod or shake my head.
Yeah, there you go.
So just know that that's coming down the pipe too, to truly, I can't, you know, we can't expect volunteers to do the entire space of our trails. But we can involve the community and we can make great progress. And that's what I read and I hear. People are amazed what a group can do in 2 hours. And when they see the progress, that brings more volunteers to us.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
awesome. Oh, thank you. Wow, that was, my goodness. Wonderful.
Pretty thankful, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anyone have any questions for Julie or? Okay.
She and Sherry are gonna be the dynamic duo.
I know, that's what I was just thinking, they're gonna be in a team, that's awesome. That's great. Love it. Thank you for leading this for us and our community.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, I just kind of fell into it, but.
yeah.
Well, we're glad you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I passed these out after they announced our new director. I think you guys probably haven't gotten them yet.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I thought you got a
Picture of it.
Yes, girl. That's cute, I love that.
All right, just a reminder, we will have our next farmer's market on the 9th. One is, say that, always the second, Saturday of the month. We'll keep to that, seems to work out well. So as far as new business, we're gonna go through it, but I wanted you to take this home with you. There's a couple packets that's provided by Indiana DNR, the Division of Forestry. And they were working hard on this past year. They had one of their members that started out kind of like Connor as an intern and then worked into a full-time role. And she had started working on just a tree species list because the communities that they started working with were inquiring, what's the appropriate tree, for street trees, for park trees and so forth. And so she started out with a packet that broke down that scientific name, that common name, also, whether it would survive well in certain types of soil, certain types of lighting. Then it's marked here on her outline here in her spreadsheet, whether it's going to be a small, medium, or large tree at mature height. And then also kind of talks about like the growth of that tree, whether it's going to be maybe a 12 to 18-inch per year growth or a 22 to 24-inch growth, but then also too, just kind of the overall form of that tree, because that matters too, of what trees you put next to each other and so forth. And so she started out putting this grid together and packet, and then she started adding in a lot more detail. So there's 2 packets. One goes into a greater detail as far as, native trees, why native trees. I love that she put that, I think it's at the very beginning of that in that larger packet. Then it goes into that right tree, right place, benefits of wildlife in relation to trees, and then kind of talks about tree diversity as well. And kind of pulls all that in together, and then ends with some climate information, as well as, what makes a good, street tree, which is very important to us when we work with developers. And so what they have offered to communities, if we would like to, and I also, Connor's made packets, copies of our current approved street and public tree list. That's worked out fine, but it doesn't give as much flexibility. So our variety in those trees we found have been a little bit limiting. And especially when you want to make sure that there's trees that are salt tolerant and so forth for our developments and our subdivisions. So what I've done over the last couple years is I have added to just a spreadsheet that we have worked in different projects that are trees that are native that also seem to do very well in our community and our area. So we've just kind of handed those out to the developers. Of course, they're very much, want to put in that red maple. That's probably 80% of the time we get that initial. So we started having those in our conversations. Please, yes, yeah. And we didn't really get the pear tree as much, but maple tree, it seems like that is.
Buy a pear tree.
I think maybe
Well, and
say like Lowe's and, Menards, all them can, but the state nurseries, they have changed policies in the state that they can't sell those anymore. So there's been movement and progress there. But I think that, there's still some just in the local, stores that, don't know any better, and don't have that policy to adhere to. So I just wanted you to take these, home with you. I want to kind of, read more in detail as well. I've not been able, since she's expanded this into a nice packet. I've not had a chance to really go over it myself as well, but I want you to review it with, the consideration. We have the option if we want to adopt this as our working model. That we would definitely would keep their recognition as far as DNR, that they were the authors of this document. But if we want to adopt this, we do have, the invite to do so. So
We would
then,
adopt the DNR list. as
Yes.
Our approved list.
over our approved
Yes.
list. That-
Could we,
Yes.
could we actually enforce that, say when we
Oh,
have
yes.
a new?
Absolutely,
Good,
yes,
good.
yep. Yes, if we adopt it, then we have all enforcement capabilities when we work with our developer as well. Yep.
I've heard a report a while back, it's so interesting on what cities are doing. And this one was specific to Minnesota, but cities all around the nation. The amount of time and energy they're expending in, because some of their trees are they're losing their native trees because of the warmer climate. And they're actually taking trees from farther south and planting them to see how they survive their winters and yeah, especially the larger cities are really doing some planning, and it is, but it's sad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's amazing how the
And-
climate has changed,
Yes.
so.
And yes, and they're also doing studies, in fact, there's a map you can go on to see what cities. They rate them by how much shade they provide. And so larger cities are thinking more about providing shade areas to get relief from the heat.
Yes, yeah. They say that in areas that, that do have a larger tree canopy, it's amazing the difference in that heat level when they look at those heat maps. And there's like an 8 to 10 degree difference, and it can be just right down the road. But yeah, again, yeah.
Well, driving off, and I watch my thermostat on my car. When I exit 69 and come into town, you can see as much as a 4 to 5 degree drop.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I love about, Indiana DNR and, Arbor Day, that they really want to make sure that all communities have access to trees, because there's a domino effect with that it's not just the change on the climate, but it also affects their heating, their cooling bills and, their financial situation. So it's, yeah, they play a
Well,
lot.
and they say crying too.
Well, yes, yes,
It helps
yeah.
calm
Yeah.
people down.
So on our developments, again, we're going back to that, but we have so much growth right now, and it's just gonna get better or worse, however you look at it, but I look at it as worse, but, that's just me. But can we control the type of tree
Yes.
that developers plant.
Yes, we can control the size of caliper and the tree species. So when we.
So is that,
review their-
is that written?
Mhm. Yeah,
Good,
yeah,
good.
it's in our unified development order.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Even count, number, spacing, or at least count per 100 linear feet and so forth, so. Yeah, we really do have a very thorough, I think, landscape section for our UDO.
Good.
Yeah, it takes up several, 10 pages or something, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite a bit,
What
so.
about the
Yeah.
individual property owner?
Yeah, that's what I.
Say that again, sorry.
What about the individual property owner in town?
So,
And I wanna plant a tree, does the town control that?
So we do have our ordinance that if there was a negative impact on another neighbor, we have some intervention kind of authority on that. But as far as tree plantings within the public right of way, our ordinance does give.
Yeah, but I have
control.
an acre plot out here
Yeah,
in edge of town. I can plant what I want as long as it's not bothering.
that's correct, yeah.
But wouldn't you like to know what good options there are?
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, yeah,
I
she-
just.
yeah,
I'm
she's
just
just
We're here to
asking
say
if
it's
we have the
controlled by-
authority.
These people are
It's part of
controlled, but
education
I'm an
to say-
individual person.
Yeah.
I understand that.
I'm just saying, it's a part of our job to educate people that if I'm gonna plant a tree, we have some resources.
Yeah,
I totally agree with you. I was just asking the question.
just seeing if we have that authority.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
adding to your comment.
yeah, we totally understand both of you, exactly, yeah,
But
yeah, we
but
just,
yeah, if
we-
you-
I just wanted to clarify that
Yeah.
there is here is the rules for the developer and here are the rules for the individual.
yes,
yeah,
yes.
but you really can't tell an individual that they.
Yeah, but that would
Well,
be
unless
great.
it's bothering somebody,
Unless it's
unless
bothering-
that's the impact on the neighbor.
Yes.
or
Yeah.
something.
Or the power line.
Or the,
Or
yes,
conflicts.
or conflicts
And
with
the water
utilities and easements
Yeah.
and so forth,
Yeah.
yes, 100%, yeah. Mhm.
That would
But
be,
we've already seen people planting trees and it's like, that's not the right tree.
yes, exactly.
And you tell them and they still plant it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's one of the things that we could do as a group here is to make that information out there where everybody gets a chance, pass it out if we have to, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
make sure that people, understand all that and
Communication is the most important thing that's so frequently just ignored.
absolutely,
Not done and put.
Yeah.
and
And
whereas,
people don't think, at the time, they don't think it impacts them, and then a couple years later, they wanna plant a tree, and then they,
yeah, look what we've just learned tonight, about that kind of stuff, so. Like you said, communication is everything, or lack of communication is the downer, but.
You mentioned a minute ago that some places like Menards and Lowe's and what's are still selling such as Bradford pears.
Mm-hmm.
Is there
Yeah.
not something that we could do, like a little protest walking up and down front? Let the company know that we
Yeah.
do not agree with that.
Yeah.
That we would like. to
It was
pay
someone at the
attention to it.
farmer's market that said that they just had bought one there. Yes, yeah, I think it was this past spring or something, and they're, because their mother had a pear tree and was doing well. But, unfortunately, then they get weakened and then windstorm and they break easy,
We
but.
just had a huge lamb off our neighbors. They had 5 of them. They've already had 2 cut down. One huge lamb came down and damaged the backside of our garage. We had to have brickwork redone.
well, and go out on
It's
38,
bad.
and the whole field there,
Yeah.
this spring is all,
Yeah.
they're
Getting
getting
the others cut down.
Well, those spread themselves so easy.
that same
I
neighbor
just
cut the
would like
tree.
to contact locally just throw out a letter of call
Yeah.
to your attention, this
Yeah.
is what you're doing, and can't you do something else?
How about when the town does their monthly or newsletter?
Newsletter, yes,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I was gonna say, that's why I just wrote that
Yeah,
out here for.
put
a
that in
newsletter,
the
yeah.
newsletter, and I mean, there, a certain amount of people read that,
Yeah.
I mean, I do.
In
so.
Hamilton County, I just saw it talked about again on TV. Their invasive program, if people take out invasives, they are providing them with the native plant to replace.
They are the poster child of this business for Hamilton County.
They got the money.
I know, I know.
There's the things you could, I'd just like to go up and talk to Menards manager and
Yeah.
Lowe's manager, and if I have to carry my little protest sign, I've been known to do it.
Yeah,
Well-
control and probably corporate.
Would you be of interest if we signed, a letter? At the next meeting that we had a letter, just expressing, our
Certainly can't hurt.
ask,
Yeah.
who knows, they may come back in and say, well, we'll no longer carry that stuff. I don't know.
It's worth a try.
We try. I
Yeah,
mean, think about it, we could. do
Yes,
that.
I think that's a
Sign that
great
with
idea.
the Urban Forestry Board. Okay,
Said,
all right.
And maybe if one person does it, then it'll, multiply and more, committees like ours will
Yeah.
do the same thing.
Knowledge is gold. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
People don't have the awareness
Yeah.
that we are learning
Yeah.
in these last
Yeah.
months.
yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, yeah. And that may be something that we can kind of get letters of support, from Madison County Soil and Water and different groups.
Somebody's gonna pay attention and listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and so one tree's
Mhm.
better than that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Every tree.
cool. I like that idea.
Oh, now that's really doing something.
Yeah, yeah.
What we've been
It's a
talking
good
about,
impact
that's
on that,
really
yeah.
affecting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll do that. Just now
This has
we're
been a
getting-
good meeting.
Yeah. The other thing, just real quick here on, fall programs for the, Indiana DNR. They had last year, the Tree City Forum, Joe and Dr. Lau, and I had went to that. They did not hold that this year. Jacob Rose, had a little one, so he was off, some time here this summer. And so they put a hold on their summer programs as they kind of focus on kind of getting built up, ready for the fall. I looked again today. I've not seen any release for their tree steward, workshop, but they are planning on, they're committed to doing it at Goshen, Muncie, and Evansville. But they didn't have dates yet. So as soon as I find that out, in the Muncie, one, if you want to participate, all your costs will be incurred, by the town. And usually it's a 2-day workshop, but then they had like an advanced course that was just I think it was about 4 hours. That's really perfect, I thought, even for an intro. I enjoyed that session. But I will keep you posted at our August when we have that, and if it kicks out sooner than that, I'll send that out to the group. And the other thing is that they were hoping by the end of July to release their next round of grants for the Community and Urban Forestry grant, but they haven't done that yet. So I know that they were kind of locking in, confirming the funding aspect of it, but they did not have anything, just more information. Things are a little bit, not say dated, but it was still the 2024, 2025.
Last year it wasn't till towards fall anyway, was it?
I think the application deadline was September 1st or something like that. But it was late June, early July when they kicked out the information and kind of opened it up, but they still, hadn't had that. But, so I think they're just kind of going through a little transition here this summer. But they were, confident that everything's gonna start kicking back up here in the fall. And then there is, an activity here that I wanted to bring to your attention. That Crown Hill Cemetery is seeking volunteers, and that is September the 24th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. They said whether or not wanted to hold a booth or help with the education piece, or just be there present, just in body, just to be able to help help wrangle 1,000 students that day that are going to come in on their grounds. And so they really want to teach about, like I think Carol was talking about those career opportunities in outdoor employments, focuses, things that are in with the environment. So if that is something that you would like to volunteer, be a part of, let me know. I believe it fell on a Wednesday, if I'm correct. I think I checked on that, wrote that down. Yeah, it's on a Wednesday, so in the middle of the week. But that's something that sounds of interest, let me know, and I'll connect you with Rachel. We'll, to get connected with Carrie Tosher there at the Crown Hill Cemetery. That's all that we have here. Is there anything else that anyone?
It's good.
Meeting,
There's something else.
meeting, okay.